Hello friends, it's Cassandra, and today I have 6 children's books for you to read this summer. I know a lot of you are like high school, college, or up in age, and you know, you're probably like, I don't need to read children's books. I'm past that. Alright, listen, hear me out. Children's books are sometimes some of like the most enjoyable and like insightful literature, and we need to take some time to appreciate it, okay? Like, some children's books are like very entertaining as a child, but then if you go back and read it when you're older, like, oh my gosh, this like actually is changing my life a little bit. Or, you know, it's just, some of them are just like really entertaining, and it's nice to like get to escape and be a kid again, and it's summer. What better time to do that? Also, another thing I love about children's books is they don't waste time with unnecessary romances. So I'm gonna share with you some of my favorite children's books. So this first one is The Last of the Really Great Wingdoodles. It is by Julie Andrews Edwards. Yes, the actress. Here she is, if you don't believe me. Haha. My mom actually read it to me when I was younger than 10. About these kids, they end up in like a magical land, and it's so good, it's so wholesome, it's beautiful. There's like good and evil, they learn about love and trust. It's so good, it's so good. This was my favorite book for years, like years, and it's hard for me to pick a favorite book, and this was my favorite for a very long time, so absolutely read this book. Okay, number 2, Palace of Mirrors by Margaret Peterson Haddix. I've read this book probably like 4 times, and I still love it. I still think about it. It's so good. This one is more of a love story, but it's like a love story that makes sense and is worthwhile. This is actually the first book I ever read that had like a romantic kiss in it. Wild. I read this in 5th grade, and I've read it multiple times since then at different ages. I've had my little sister read it. I don't know if my older sisters read this. It's about a girl who has been living as like a commoner peasant, I guess. She is secretly a princess, and you know, all these things happened, and now she's finally able to safely like take the throne, and the fake princess can step down, but you know, of course all these things happen, and then there's all these problems, and it's very good. I love this book. This is a very good one. It just like warms my heart, you know? It's a good one. 3rd one, Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes. I've read this book 2 or 3 times. I love it. There's so much happening, and it all makes sense, and it's wonderful and fantastic, and it's about an orphan boy who goes on all these like crazy adventures because of these sets of like magical eyes he finds, because he's blind, and so like he gets all these eyes and they like do different things. It's amazing. It sounds weird, maybe a little gross, I don't know, but I promise this book is so good, so worth it, so good, so good. Okay, alright. Circus Galacticus sounds like the stupidest book you've ever read in your life. My mom picked this up at the library for me. She was like, oh, I found this book, it looks cool, and I saw it and I was like, this looks like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But I read it, and it changed my life. Like, I kid you not, there's some quotes in here that like I have written down other places, because they're things I felt but never been able to put into words, and like she puts them into words. It's about again, an orphan. That was kind of my thing when I was younger. Like, orphans were like what I read about. But the girl in here is the character I've most related to like ever in my life, and so I know like not everyone will probably relate to her as much as I did, but that is like one of the reasons I really love this book, is because I really see myself in this main character, and there's fighting, there's gymnastics, there's adventure, and it's brilliant, and I love it. These next 2 books are going to be the first book in a series, so all these others have been just solo, read them on your own books, but these other 2 are series, so if you like it, know that there's a little bit of a commitment, alright? So, The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen, I adore. This is one of my favorite series. Probably like this and The Maze Runner. And Leviathan. And some other ones. This is like honestly one of my favorite series. There's 3 in the series, so it's a trilogy. They're children's books. They're fast reads. Look at these line spacing, like they're quick. They're quick. You can do it. And this is the main character in these books is one of the sassiest characters I've ever read, and I love him. He's funny, he's witty, he's like doing his own thing, and there's so many like hidden agendas in here. You know things that the characters don't know, but there's also things that you still aren't really sure of. It's so good, so funny. Like I laugh out loud sometimes when I read these books. I think they're hilarious, and they're very well written, and I love Jennifer A. Nielsen. I think I have like all of her, I don't want to say all of her books, but I have a lot that she's written. No, this one is for sure for all people of all ages, and you're gonna love it, I promise. Like, on my honor, this is a fantastic book, okay? It's so good. Alright, and my last book today is The Finisher. Now, I know I've sort of mentioned this in a different video from my summer books of last year, because I read the sequel last summer, but this is the first one. I think it's a trilogy. I know there's 3 books. I don't know if there's more than that, but there's for sure 3. They are a little thicker, but again, like, big font, big spacing, brilliant books. You'll want to read them fast. They're so good. It definitely fits in like the fantasy genre, but it also is so realistic. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You're really cheering on the characters in this book, and you just really want them to succeed, and there's so many like complexities and depths to these characters. So basically, like, everyone lives in this one city town thing, and no one's allowed to leave, but this one guy like disappears, and so it's a whole big thing. Like, did he leave on his own? Why would he do that? That's like basically a suicide mission to leave, and this girl's like trying to figure it out, and yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on. It's more than that, but it's so good. When I read this book, it was one of the first ones in a while where I couldn't put it down. So, very good book. I really love it. Please read it. Please read all of these books, okay? So that's all I have for you today. I really think that you all should read at least one of these books this summer, okay? I have so many different like genre types that I've given you. There's gotta be at least one thing that you can enjoy, and I know like reading isn't for everyone. I know for some people like reading is hard and it's frustrating, but have someone read it to you or something, because these stories are so good, and I want them to be shared with the world, because they all have like touched my heart in one way or another, and yeah, I want you all to experience that too. So, that all being said, embrace the awkward life, read lots of books, and I'll see you next week. Bye!